Speaking of social media, um, this week, I guess not just this week, but we're like finally witnessing, there's a Democratic president in office, and the conservatives are back to full blown culture war because there are no new ideas under the sun or in their brains really. It's just Fox News endlessly and incorrectly reporting about everything, using all of their entertainment show hosts. And this week it's been Dr. Seuss. They've been completely covering Dr. Seuss fully accurately and grasp the real issue at hand.
It's a bit like it's a monkeys on typewriters thing, right? Where if you just churn through enough grifts, eventually you'll get the next QAnon, you know. But 99% of these grifts are like the fucking potato head thing from last week, or now this, or whatever it happens to be. Uh, yeah, I've this has skirted by my notice pretty much entirely. Thank God. I just know that they're mad about it, and like some
Right.
of Dr. Seuss's books are no longer being sold or something. I don't know.
So the issue is the Dr. Seuss company or whatever it is on Read Across America Day or whatever that's called, which is Dr. Seuss's birthday. Um made a statement that, or like it was either on or around that, made a statement that they are no longer publishing 6 books. I don't remember what the 6 books are except for one of them, and that's If I Ran a Zoo, because that's the one that I had. They are no longer publishing them because they have offensive depictions of Black and Asian people, and this is from the company themselves. They're like, yeah, these don't reflect our our values today, and they're hurtful images, so we're not republishing them. And I guess like because if Fox News was reporting on Democrats not raising the minimum wage, uh and Republicans also like agreeing with that, then that would probably get people up in a tizzy,
In
who
like a
all the
real
working
tizzy
class,
about important things.
yeah, the working class people who actually watch that show would probably be a little upset with both of them. So instead they had to make up this fake culture war shit and said that like Dr. Seuss was canceled, which has now just become a boogeyman of things. It's like there was a Media Matters video that showed like no less than like at least 50 times did they talk about Dr. Seuss when important shit is happening for real, over like the course of 3 days. It's very, very funny.
It's like it's not even false consciousness. It's like irrelevant consciousness, right?
Right.
It's like Republicans want you to believe that like, oh, they're canceling Dr. Seuss or whatever, and like Democrats want you to believe that like, it's misogyny to criticize like Neera Tanden for
Yeah.
not getting the OMB position or whatever. And like, because both parties agree about the fundamental economic status. So rather than, and they can't just trick you because, we're Americans and everything has to be like a competition or whatever. So everyone needs an enemy. And now the enemy is, the people who want to ban the Dr. Seuss blackface book.
Right. And it's just so funny to me too, is that like on Fox News, like there was almost zero reporting of the fact that it was the Seuss company themselves that were like they came to the decision, like they were using their free market rights or whatever, I don't know, some dumb bullshit like that, and just saying like, hey, we don't want to do this because it gives us like a bad image, and it certainly does.
Well, see,
and
that's
canceling.
Maybe yeah.
Well, what's crazy to me is like Republicans and people like Tucker Carlson, like they know that they don't really give a shit about Dr. Seuss. They know it's like a bullshit proxy displaced culture war emotionally. We know that. I mean, like even I think most liberals know that like the conservatives don't really give a shit about Dr. Seuss. So it's almost like both sides are participating in this meta verbal conflict that's like steps removed from what they can really acknowledge. It's like, okay, I'm full of shit. I know I'm full of shit. I know that I'm full of shit, but like we can't admit
we've got to
that.
now spend like weeks and weeks litigating this like bullshit conversation that neither of us are actually invested
And
in.
it produces so much content, it just perpetuates itself, and
There
that's
you
like
go.
the news cycle
So,
for weeks.
Stop listening to this podcast right now because we're doing that exact same thing. Send me $50 on Venmo. Yeah.
Same.
I probably should have said that before the stop listening, but
It's too late. It's too late.
yep. They're not
Yeah.
coming back, so
They're not gonna come back to hear us roast fucking Madison Cawthorn for his bad handwriting.
Oh God. Yeah, Dr. Seuss Enterprises, which, Jesus Christ, just why that name? You know, why can't you come with something quirky for the Dr. Seuss company that churns out millions of dollars of content every year? Yeah, the Dr. Seuss Enterprises as the proxy for the proxy war that we are holding, because we don't actually do open warfare now. We just do proxy wars. You know, both literally with bombs and figuratively, you know, dropping verbal bombs on on our fellow Americans. Yeah, the Madison Cawthorn thing too. You know, kind of just like the video of him punching the
Well,
tree.
yeah, he's like full culture war guy. Because of course a Gen Z person doing culture war shit is just the most silly thing.
intensely
But
cringe.
yeah, there is
like you should be like the Gen Z culture war shit is like, okay, like I'm the only person who can kin with this fucking Homestar Runner character, and if anybody else tries to, I will have them assassinated.
Literally assassinated. Okay, I am a House representative in North Carolina. I have the contacts. Okay, I talk to Navy SEALs every day.
We are renaming this county Strong Badia, and there is shit all you can do about it.
My polycule includes both Henry Kissinger and George W. Bush. Thank you.
Psychic Dolphin Garage.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode from the Psychic Dolphin Garage. I'm Zach.
I'm Bo.
And I'm Dennis.
And today we're joined by the one true pod. We have June and Nick with us. Welcome, June and Nick. Would y'all like to introduce yourselves? Tell us a little about what y'all do.
Hey, thanks. It's good to be here. Yeah, we are two of the three members of One True Pod. Technical difficulties means that Claire can't be with us for this part of the show, at least. But she's with us here in spirit. But yeah, June, what is our show?
It's the leftist podcast where we do art and media criticism through a trinity of Catholic perspectives. I've said it enough times that I've memorized it now. Just good.
Yes, that's why. That's
kind
why
of appropriate too. I mean, obviously, it's you know, tech issues more than anything, but maybe this is Providence that the Trinity has been severed to come on this you know, absolute fucking sacrilege of a pod.
That's true. So now you just have the syndicalist and the Catholic atheist, as we call
There you
Nick.
go.
Because once you're part of
please,
it, you can't get out of it.
I am the only non-cringe atheist online. It's me.
Mhm.
I'm the one.
Yeah. We are excited to have you here. Bringing more Catholic representation so that Dennis doesn't feel alone.
Yes.
And
So I don't feel alone.
Happy to, as Catholic as you can be, when you pray to both like Mary and Persephone, because you consider them both the sort of, you know, great mother.
Yeah, just like Tonatzin
Ooh.
for like Mexicans and La Virgen de Guadalupe.
Oh yeah, you're way better at folk Christianity than
Oh, yeah.
than the Italians.
Well,
for
yeah,
sure.
no, Mexicans are so good at folk Christianity, folk Catholicism. We got it.
hell yeah. And you know, of course, what we do every week, which is criticizing things that make us angry on the inside. And you know, finally having some professionals on to criticize real problems in the
You
world.
guys all have on like labor leaders and shit, and then you have on our like stupid ass podcast where we rant for like 2 hours about how like one line in Akira Kurosawa's Ron is like a demonstration of like Marcuse's theory about like the whole entire Frankfurt Skulls analysis of like the effects of capitalism on society.
Yes, exactly. Unironically, yes.
The two Himbo, Bimbo, and Thimbo podcasts are melding here today, and you listener are here to experience it firsthand. So let's see what's on the docket. Let's see who is causing us grief this week. Oh, and of course, first up is biphobia. Great.
I've been looking to do some more of it.
We do not claim Kirsten Cinema. She is officially her application to the the centralized
consortium?
the consortium, the centralized home of bisexuals has been rejected. Her card, she's been instructed to cut her card in half and return it to headquarters.
Bisect the card.
Oh, ooh.
Yeah,
There we go.
and that is, of course, once we decide on a location for the headquarters. We have a couple in mind, but like, we can't quite decide.
I saw the video of her voting no, and I have to say, I think the criticism against her, it's very bigoted. I personally felt this too as someone who went to anime conventions in college. As you know, we are POC, people of cosplay, and us anime girls who wear the skirts we found at the bargain bins with our tacky purses.
I mean,
like,
yeah, that's the thing.
Look, we were all 20 at one point. Like, we've all made the mistake of dressing like this.
I was talking about this with June earlier, and I think like if the same outfit was on a cute leftist person who was like, yeah, I care about like fashion a little bit, but I care so much more about like social justice and politics and preparing everyone for the revolution, like then it would be
That'd
an
be
okay
cute.
look.
Like legitimately
Yeah,
cute
there's
look. Yeah.
like
Yeah, see?
context.
Well, so much of what made it ugly was not just the outfit, it was the gesture.
Well, yes,
like
it's
it's the
the-
gleefulness
yes,
at being harmful.
It's the
Right.
context around
Yeah.
like, I had to dress up cute today so that I could go deny rights to Americans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Woo.
Do my fun little TikTok dance.
But just like on the aesthetics alone, I don't like people like ragging on the outfit. It would be fine if it was on a better
Right.
person.
So like if
Nick he's an aesthetics American. He does not appreciate this bigotry.
if you're in the dark of who we're talking about Kristen Sinema, congressperson from Arizona, who voted no. She's a Democrat. She voted no on the raise of the minimum wage. I recall very like everyone being very happy back in I think it was 2016 when she was elected, being the first openly bisexual member of Congress, and it kind of just shows how weak and useless IdPoll has been, because not only is it have I seen people throw around biphobia for criticizing her, also criticizing her gesture as being misogynistic when it fully was a very Marie Antoinette sort of like curtsy to say, sorry, pores, like you don't get any money.
Let them eat cake, ooh.
I mean, she literally brought her staffers a cake the night before she made that vote. I mean, I know it was like an unrelated thing.
Yeah, Snopes did the mixed true that she brought a cake with her to vote that morning.
That means entirely true.
Yeah.
All this says to me is that if conservatives are mad about Dr. Seuss, fucking whatever's going on with that, because I did not listen to the opening, I was not participating in that. They should have just made the Cat in the Hat a cat girl, and everybody would have been fine with it.
Damn.
I mean, her outfit, she looks like she's from Dr. Seuss, am I right?
But yeah, this sucks. And the fact that a fucking Democratic majority can't get a fucking $15 minimum wage across proves that not only do they not care about you, they actively hate you.
Yeah, we were gonna include a New York Times article about how how like they actually like almost had the point. They're like, yeah, the Democrats want to compromise too badly. They want to go back to like bipartisanship instead of just like ramming through everything that the American people fucking need. Because because they can, because they have the majority, because they control everything right now. So,
well, that's the thing. They absolutely can, but they don't want to because they suck ass.
Right.
They don't
because they have these like supposedly unaccountable Joe Manchins and fucking Kirsten Sinema's in the party. That like no, it's just fine that they don't care about that. Like they can just hang out with us still. It's cool.
Yeah, and also just picking and choosing when to like say things are misogynistic and biphobic when there were certainly like people like bringing up that Joe Biden was sexually abusive to them during the election, but no one ever said anything about that.
That's politically inconvenient.
I think, honestly, the real
Mm-hmm.
biphobia is Kirsten Sinema is playing into the bi stereotype. Bi people can't pick a side or whatever. Because back in the day, she claimed to be, this like crust punk anarchist, and now she's like, actually, sweaty. Like the minimum wage needs to say $7.25. Yeah, like.
She also gave it.
I'll be
she
voting.
also gave an
God.
incoherent apology, like text apology. It was stupid. Don't bother reading.
Yeah, she was like, "Sorry, I had to vote for."
It was cry typed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, other things, important things that are happening that we should also be paying attention to because, God, it's fucking piling on again. I thought that everything was going to slow down after the election year, but no. Andrew Cuomo, the sexual assaulter,
Andy
refuses to stand down, to step out of office.
Andy, baby.
California and Texas are reopening. They've removed their mask orders, and businesses are just like at 100%. And as of this morning, the stimulus bill is passed. It is going back to one of the other groups of idiots that has to sign it or whatever the fuck. And then we'll maybe get our checks, maybe, eventually, one day.
In a couple months.
Yeah. So California's not completely reopening. There are still mask mandates. I did check California's health department today to see literally every county, but like the 3 extremely rural ones are in basically a state of emergency. But guess what? My county, Orange County, by April 1st gets to open Disneyland up again. You will have to wear masks, and there will still be, there will be less people there. But the fact is that it's opening, and that's not great. I don't know if you've ever had to stand in line for fucking Matterhorn or something, but it's usually like 2 hours, and you're packed like anchovies into that fucking tin.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I was a really weird kid, and like whenever we went to Disney World, I always enjoyed waiting in line because they always had like little video.
They have the lore.
Videos or they establish lore in literal environmental storytelling. Like as you're waiting to go on like I don't know Dumbo's Magic Adventure ride, and they'll and like in some of the more extensive rides like. The Spider-Man virtual reality ride, like they'll actually have pre-taped cartoon segments.
My favorite thing about that is the item descriptions. You pick things up and really delve into
much like Dark Souls.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, you delve into the this is the ticket stub of line waiter Dorian who linked something. You're gonna have to play more to figure it out.
Who tragically passed in a fire or whatever.
Or got COVID because he was asses to elbows with the... No, yeah, you're standing in line for a fucking, the Lilo and Stitch gun adventure or whatever. And...
we just pop a cap in Stitch's ass.
No.
Like,
the toxic UI element from Dark Souls just pops up above your head. It's like, shit, guess it's my time.
Here's the thing. At the end of this episode, you will have to string together all of the times we mentioned Dark Souls, and we will have fully a Dark Souls podcast.
There you go.
Hell yeah.
There's a sub-podcast within this podcast.
you have to play it backwards and then cut out, specific portions of it, and then you get the satanic message.
Yeah, which we will not be doing. You the
Oh.
listener, have to do that. Enjoy this
So
Yes,
ARG
you have to do it for yourself.
So the,
It's the secret code to find
Yeah.
Dark Souls 4.
to finally
the,
find Elden Ring's release
session-
date.
there you go.
No, that's what I'm gonna do with
So
my
the-
stimulus check is buy Elden Ring because they're gonna come out around the same time.
Very nice.
go.
Yes. Yes.
So the Disney thing too just goes to like the sort of like infantilization of, I think, people in society. And like I know the Chapo guys have talked about this before, but like a lot of the Disney adults, start to like associate the concept of Disney with some like huge good or whatever, and that's why they like want to go back to it, and like that's why they're willing to get like the toxic pop-up or whatever when I'm just like, I'm not getting toxic unless I half spider half woman boss gets to eat me apart. Like I
Yeah.
might die for that, but I'm not dying for like Donald Duck, especially after I played Kingdom Hearts 2 and that asshole didn't kill me.
Mhm. So I know quite a few people because I live in the area. I know quite a few people who literally like on Grinder and things, they're like one of their like necessities is that you have a Disneyland annual pass. I literally live about 15
Oh,
minutes away from
God.
Disneyland. Not only that,
Mhm.
I've had people stop talking to me because I said that I don't like Disney
Now,
or
Now,
that
Dennis,
I criticize.
is that annual with 2 N's and a U, or is that a typo?
No, it's no because they put AP holder.
Okay. Just wanted
And
to
I'm
check.
like, ooh, Associated Press? Are we getting like, are we like, using AP? Are we, putting our headers with our, our last name first and what page it is? Nope. And then I've heard of a story, and this is because my coworker or my roommate's manager, apparently, she's a 40-year-old woman. Has a Disneyland annual pass, and every time that she goes there with her husband, apparently like bursts into tears.
Normal.
And her husband has to pat her on the back and say, "It's okay, you can have your time." And I'm like, no, it's not allowed.
But hey, cheaper than therapy, right?
No,
it's
Disneyland is incredibly expensive.
It's so expensive. It's so expensive. The annual pass, they refunded everyone last year, but they made the annual pass even more expensive,
Wow.
and they took away the free parking.
I have a fair amount of family members who like have either done the Disney program and like through college and then worked for Disney for a few
Mhm.
years. I'm related to a few adult Disney fans like who have Disney decorations in like the
Disney
house.
tattoos.
Very sorry.
No, to the best of my knowledge, I'm not related to anyone with a tattoo, but like
Yet.
I have some. I have some tainted family members.
It is
who's,
not
like,
manifested in the flesh yet. Yeah.
I don't have any like like physical, I don't have any like evidence on this, allegedly, but like I wonder how much like sex work goes on at Disney World, because it's like there's so many hotels, there's so many like incredibly frustrated like
Mhm.
dads who
I would be-
like
I'd
can
be-
probably conceivably think of a way to get away for like 2 hours.
Yeah,
You know?
I would.
Interesting that you blame the dads first as opposed to the moms.
No one fucks like Gaston. No one sucks like Gaston. No one so
Exactly.
thoroughly destroys something like Gaston. I don't know.
I'm just going based on the metrics of the people who buy sex.
Mhm.
It is
Yeah.
predominantly has a gender bias to it. Like, look, MILFs never messaged me on the Sugar Baby forums, okay?
That's material aid. What do you want?
Sexual mutual aid brought to you by Disney World. Yeah. One thing.
Oh, you guys are. Oh, Merrick, come on the podcast.
One thing I would consider, however, a minor nitpick I have is just how thoroughly sexless everything about
Yeah.
Disney and like media generally like
Yeah.
associated with it is, and that's going into even the like quote unquote like stuff for adults, like that just like this is totally devoid of any sort of sexuality or libido.
Mm-hmm.
the way Disney like through the new Star Wars movies and through Marvel movies has like handled like the different types of quote unquote mature content for people has been interesting, because like in Marvel movies people die. There's pretty relatively extreme violence for like being standard like fair
and then the
PG-13
Netflix
movies.
shows were like very violent.
Yeah.
That is a little different because those were different characters who had different distributions before. That was before like Disney got involved. But like Disney just with the Marvel movies, at least, they're like very sexless, and that is something a lot of people have noticed. But they're so sterile. Like there's like implication of sex because like Iron Man has a kid in one of the movies, but the characters don't have desire or express desire, and they feel less human, like way less human than like, I don't know, Tim Burton's
like,
Batman or
so
something.
I was talking to Nick about this earlier today, so it's on my head. So like the other sort of like medium of expression that people usually think of as being very sort of like sexless, quote unquote, is ballet, right? Because it's like, despite being very physical, like very touching, it's always on this very sort of like abstracted and pure scale or whatever. But there are a lot of ballets that nonetheless deal with sexuality. You know, the Spartacus ballet is the one we were talking about, where it's like, okay, Spartacus and his wife like never even kiss, but based on so many gestures and everything, you get the sense of like this woman's sexual satisfaction with her man, right? And like in a way that is still, you know, PG, you're not seeing anything, right? And I feel like this removal, like for one, it goes to just American media generally, that we're always like
Puritanical.
more okay with violence than with sexuality. Yeah. There was that joke in the original Roseanne where one of the girls wants to go to the movie and she's like, it's rated R, and the mom's like, I don't know about that, and she's like, oh, for violence, not sex, and she's like, yeah, okay, go ahead. So it's like some of that, I think, but it's also this idea of like, I think desire in a certain sense is kind of like, it is in a way deeper than a lot of the themes they're addressing, because when you talk about desire, you talk about sort of individual conceptions and wants and needs in a way that can be messy and complicated, you know, even if you're dealing with like a straight couple or whatever, because everyone has jealousy, everyone has lust, etc. And like, because the movies are designed to be so sort of like one note and safe, you know, it's not that they're like atrociously bad in the sense of like they go on for 5 hours and there's no plot. Like they're always very clearly methodically made by like an algorithm or whatever. But like something like desire is too complicated for those sort of like processes to like grasp. So I feel like if they tried to do it, you know, they might get a Suicide Squad, which actually tried to deal with themes of desire between Harley Quinn and Joker, right?
Right.
And I mean, that wasn't the only reason it was bad by, you know, by a long shot, but like that was certainly one of the many fails on the like YouTube cringe compilations for that movie.
So I have one last thing to say about Disney adults, and then like that's it. If we talk more about them, I'm probably gonna die on this podcast. that same manager, that my roommate's manager does have Disney tattoos, but the other tattoo like collection that she has apparently is a like paw prints going up her arms with names and dates of all the dogs that she's had. There's like 10. There's like over 10.
Oh no.
That's too many. Like why are they dying so quickly?
Yeah.
That's she's cosplaying as Cruella de Vil. Or doing LARPing, I suppose.
The coat grows longer by the day.
Oh, speaking of which, that's one of the new Disney like live action movies that's coming out. the Cruella de Vil
She's
like
gonna be an anarchist.
joke,
Yeah.
You know,
girl boss
Girl
Joker.
boss
Yeah.
You know,
Joker.
Anarchism
Yeah.
is when you kill dogs, and the more Pete Buttigieg you are, the more of an anarchist you are. It's that simple.
It's specifically when you're an aristocrat who kills
Yeah,
dogs.
yeah.
Yeah, Disney will not make good
God.
films until they pull off like anime bad guys where everybody for some reason is really sexually attracted to the anime to the bad guy, to the one character that is like evil and twisted. And everyone's like, "Oh, no, that's the one. That's the one." That's when Disney will finally be good.
Sephiroth is so simple. Like, he wants to destroy the world because he has mommy issues. Like, that is so easy to understand. You can vibe with it, but it also makes you feel like, you know what, I could fix him.
Also, he had a really cool sword, so he's
You
correct.
want to talk about phallic imagery?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got like an 8-pack, huge pecs, and a giant sword.
And he penetrates the hot girl in
Yeah.
a very famous scene.
And he's a guy with long hair, and I have
Yep,
to represent. So
That's what we call dudes rocking.
Absolutely.
Eris is good representation for me as the girl who seems very sweet, but is like the actual slut of the group.
I think Jujutsu Kaisen has finally brought bi representation. We have Gojo, who is actually, you know, that's just what I strive to be. All powerful, beautiful eyes, and the main character everywhere. So but I guess we've had fun with this. This next story, not quite as fun. There's a lot of stuff happening in Alabama. You know, we've talked a bit about the Amazon
Unionization efforts, yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I was not going to make it through that. But more hideous things in Alabama. The legislature is apparently, the Senate Health Committee has approved a bill. So it's not, I believe it still has to go to, I believe if it's
The
been
governor.
approved, it still has to go to, at least the governor. But it is a bill that is
Well, also,
supposed
they're
to ban.
I mean, they're bicameral, so.
Okay. Well, it still has to go through some political bullshit, whatever process means these days. But it's supposed to make it illegal for doctors to treat trans teenagers. It is supposed to ban medical care for trans youths.
A felony specifically too, yeah.
Yes. It's supposed to make it literally a felony. It is. You are not allowed to. It is criminalizing any sort of
Treatment for, you know,
yeah.
for trans
It's
youth.
criminalizing,
You know,
being
great
trans.
stuff. Mm-hmm.
Because again, freedom is the freedom to purchase one product or another. It's not the freedom for individuals to make their own choices about their body.
Oh, right,
Yeah,
right.
That's going too far.
Freedom is
yeah.
not, choosing which products get to be on the shelves. Even if you think that a boycott is legal, it isn't. So, sorry, but it is the freedom to go look at those shelves and go, well, I guess I will pick one of these products because it's what is available.
And what scares me about like one state doing this, like imposing this harsh of a penalty, it seems like they're trying to deliberately bait someone to challenge it, so it like raises up to the Supreme Court
Yeah.
level and like gets to that level of kind of finality. Because like this is a pretty extreme step, and one of the things I know anti-abortion activists try to do is like they try to keep their wins more marginal. They don't want to actually ban abortion or try to ban abortion on a state level, because then it will become a national issue.
Although South Carolina
I'm
has
sorry.
done that.
Uh-huh.
Oh no, I'm sure I'm not saying they'll never do it, but on the whole, the tactic is to keep victories as marginal as possible and like make it technically logistically impossible for someone to get a safe abortion in most cases in their state, as opposed to just banning them.
Yeah, it's like we have here in Texas of, oh yeah, you can get an abortion 8 hours from here, like
Exactly. Yeah, and you have to go through like 2 weeks of training with a pastor, like bullshit things, and like certain certain healthcare facilities can't provide abortions because they're not technically large enough.
So it's the case that wealthy women can get abortions, which has always been the case.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Weird how that is, though.
And I guess I'm just saying, like, the very like systematic and regulated approach that anti-abortion activists have to this, to the way they handle and like strategize around legislation. It seems like anti-trans activists here don't have that. They're just like pushing for an outright ban
straight
as
up
fast as
statewide.
possible.
I'm sure, and I like the fact that like Amy Coney Barrett is on the Supreme Court too is like a sort of guarantee. If this bill goes to the Supreme Court, it'll probably be like a 7-2 or an 8-1, because even liberals don't like really care about trans issues in that sort of deep way. They like to post, like trans women are women in all caps on Twitter or whatever. But like when it gets to the nitty gritty, like trans women in sports, they're like, oh, I'm concerned about women's sports, even though they've never even watched like a single WNBA
Or let alone
game.
WNBA,
And like the same
like
thing
high
with this,
school
they're
shit.
like, oh, well, children, we can't trust them, and parents' rights are important or whatever. So like there's that concern. But I don't think that the transphobic bills that are, there's anti-trans bills in like 7 or 8 states right now. It's not a coincidence that those are happening with the same sort of reduction in reproductive rights. They kind of go hand in hand. They both involve, personal autonomy, and personal autonomy among women, either, whether they are actually either trans, men who society is going to perceive as women, who actually need sort of like birth control and abortion and whatnot, abortion access, or trans women who like are women, and, but like it's the fact that two go together, and like this is in the trans feminist manifesto. This goes back years and years, saying like all trans women need to support reproductive rights, even if you don't personally need to get an abortion, because both of these are intertwined in a sort of a very broad bigoted sense. Because if someone believes that women don't have the right to control their body, they're going to believe that's not going to be something they believe in isolation randomly. It's going to be part of a larger worldview that sees gender roles as very fixed and sees trans people as perverse.
Yeah, it's not that they hate or want to get rid of trans people either. You're just not allowed to be loud and proud about it, or ask for things you need, or
well, I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, I think if they could just like, hey, death sentence for being trans, that's the law now. Sorry. They absolutely would. But
yeah. Oh Jesus.
This as Nick was saying, this is like that marginality somewhat of that being the larger goal, but still this being a thing that's big enough that you can push it up the chain, so to speak.
Yeah, well, like the sort of like death to all is like definitely a thing they would do, but there are like more liberals, and even to some extent the sort of right-wing liberals, like your sort of like Bill Kristol sort of Republicans who aren't like fully on board with Trump, or at least that's what they say, would probably object to something like that. But like it goes to the reason like Blair White is like their chosen sort of successful one or whatever, because like there's nothing quote unquote visibly trans about her,
right,
as bigots like to perceive it. And most of that is the fact Blair White doesn't in any way indicate that she doesn't appear on her videos with like trans flag earrings and chokers, and she doesn't dress like Kirsten Sinema, but it's this idea of like she is appearing the way that I believe that all women need to appear, and she's being quiet about it, and she's like one of the good ones, quote unquote. That's like why they can accept it, because it's like, okay, well, she has the misfortune of existing, but at least she's like quiet.
At least she viciously attacks anyone who is visibly trans.
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus.
I mean, it's the seen but not heard, and it's applied to just cis and trans women.
Right? You get to be cool as long as you're a bigot. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I guess speaking of being seen.
Being cool but being a bigot.
Well, I was gonna trying to being seen, being not seen but heard.
But not heard.
The Swiss citizens have voted to ban face coverings. This is nothing to do with masks, by the way, or coronavirus. America is still the worst about that. So we still hold that position as the worst on that. This is about burqas actually, because it is 2007.
Yeah, it's
again.
it's about burqas and niqabs. This BBC article reported that because of the direct democracy that that Switzerland has, they were very quick to point out that it's a direct democracy, not a representative democracy. I was like, that's interesting that you pointed that one out. But the government apparently pushed back against this, but the people voted to ban all face coverings. So this would be the burqa, the niqab, the chador, but also like any sort of like masks that people wear. They said because it was to fight against anonymous extremists who were like protesting. However, the propaganda that the proponents of the what is called the burqa ban was a woman in a burqa or a niqab with angry eyes, and that says "Stop extremists" in German. So take what you will with that one.
Yeah. That's I mean, like you said, it really is some fucking like 2007 shit of like, nah, we're just going straight back to the full on like this is the new boogeyman again. Yeah, Islam.
It's great.
I mean, Biden in many ways is like a return to both the Bush era and the Obama era.
Oh yeah, God,
And
talk about a fucking synthesis.
What else was common to both of those if not Islamophobia?
True. A return to greatness, really.
Don't say that. Don't say it that way. Don't say it that
Say
way.
that so deadpan. Yeah, Jesus. Fucking.
But
Yeah.
The BBC found some research from the University of Lucerne in Switzerland, found that Switzerland about only 30 women wear a niqab, which is a face covering that only covers the head and everything below the eyes. There's no it's not, the burqa is the thing that is actually like the full body coverage. So only about 30 women wear the niqab, and virtually no one wears a burqa.
And how many of those women, Dennis, are political extremists? Huh? Consider that.
If 100%
only-
of 30 people are political extremists, then you know what?
Actually, women are political in
Extreme.
their nature. So
Yes,
take that.
The body politic.
When a
as they
woman is
say.
in a movie or a video game or whatever, that's politics. All right, and I'll
It's
have none of it.
politics.
Thanks.
And
I realize a lot of the people like supporting those are the type of ones who are always going on about how like violence is always so gendered and women are never school shooters, women are never serial killers, da da da. And it's like, okay, well by that logic, the people wearing the niqab, people wearing the burqa are going to be women. So like, you really according to what you've said, they're not going to do anything violent because like estrogen apparently like
It
makes
just-
you
yeah.
calmer or whatever.
kills
So, like,
all
even-
violence.
Even according to like their own bullshit, they don't really believe it. But like I think ultimately, it's like a material condition aspect where it's like these people who are Muslim are primarily coming immigrants from countries like Turkey or whatever that like are needed in these countries in order to provide, cheap labor to capital, right? But like there are citizens who are going to be displaced, again, because of capital, not because of the immigrants or whatever. But it's very easy to point at the person who looks different than you and go like, oh, remember 9/11? And then suddenly it's like, yeah, we should do something about it.
I guess in Switzerland, the building of minarets is also banned, which seems very weird. but
That's
it's
fucking
because,
corny.
it's a sign of
So sorry.
Islamization. So, there you go.
Islamization.
Oh yeah, God forbid their
I think it's-
mosques look
I think it's
Muslim. Like what the fuck, man?
It's another example of like they know what they're
Mhm.
doing. They know it's Islamophobic. They know that their political opponents know that they're Islamophobic, but they can't just come out and do that. They can't say it's illegal to be Muslim in Switzerland. Like they can't just say
Right.
that. It has to be like a half step removed at least, and everyone knows what's up. But like,
Yeah,
just can't
they're-
come out
You
and say
gotta
it.
stop extremists.
yeah, you have to.
These women, all 30 of them.
You have to. You have to.
It goes back to like
You have to show that you're culturally like you're culturally like not trying to force out our culture, but you're willing to to learn from us or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing too is they'll try and, again, much like with Christian cinema, they'll try and invent misogyny charges by being like, oh, they only wear the niqab or whatever because like they're oppressed by men according to their religion or something like this. And it's like, again, it's a sort of flimsy charge that like people who aren't aware enough of things will believe, in the same way that like conservatives always bring up that verse in the Quran that's like, put the infidel to the sword or whatever, and they never mention the line that comes next, which is like, but if they are like repentant, then tax them and let them live, because they grew up in a different environment and they don't know the true God, and God is merciful and compassionate or whatever. Incredibly bad paraphrase of the surah, but like it's this idea of like it's the little learning is a dangerous thing sort of aspect, where
Right.
it's like if you know one passage from the religion, you can easily believe it's bad, but if you actually have any informed context of what's going on, then you're like, okay, this is full of shit.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Yeah, which it is, all of them, every single one of them. There are all of these bands and all of this reactionary bullshit it's absolutely full of shit. There's no basis for it, and it's been turned, like we said, into like culture war stuff, into just like it's a proxy war for it's a
how
proxy
can we
war
use
for
this as a cover for making people's lives worse?
yeah
Oh, God.
it's not going to make the lives of the people who are ostensibly benefiting from it. It's not making the lives of the people that voted yes for this better. It's not doing anything but fitting into their need, slotting in to their need to feel like they're part of some greater, bigger thing, I guess, because that's what the culture war gives us is you get to be part of
And
the in-group.
Swiss nationalism, really? That's where you're staking your claim? Come on,
Right.
Come on.
It's, the people supporting this law they're just very fortunate that God is in fact merciful and compassionate.
Exactly.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah. My biggest complaint is all the holes in their logic. All right, so if you've made it this far,
Hey, look, if it's a 2007 complaint, I'm going to come up with a 2007 defense.
All right. Well, if you've made it this far, you're a true comrade. Thank you for sticking around. We'd like to shout out all of our patrons, especially Scott for contributing to our dialectical tier, and for Jorge and Tim for contributing to our Devil's Advocate tier. Y'all keep the show plugging along. Let us know how you liked our latest Patreon exclusive episode. We of course release weekly episodes that we record before we record this. So if you want to get all the references that we're making in these recordings, become a patron. Remember, you can do that for $5 a month. And we also have the $1 a month tier open so that you have $4 to spend on mutual aid, on bail funds, on Steam games, McChickens, whatever you can dream of. To do with $4 in America today.
A bigger our $4 that we're saving you is a bigger stimulus than the Biden administration has given you. So enjoy that.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Also on
Garage
Patreon
Cares.
now is Sonic High School Part 2.
Oh yeah.
Give it a listen.
Yeah, we do.
It sucks.
We post all of our bonus episodes there, so you get your Sonic the High School series. We also have our episode we did with some organizers that were involved with the No Evil Foods unionization. That's a very good episode. Highly recommend you check that out. We will be posting it. Is that on the Patreon actually? No, that's just a regular bonus episode.
Yeah,
we do have
you get that one for free.
we do have a part 2 that is coming out on the Patreon, which will be there exclusively for a week or two. So if you want to get early access to that, throw us a buck and tell us how much you love listening to our show. So the One True Pod, thank you so much for sitting through all of our bullshit, June and Nick. This has been a lot of fun. You've plugged a little bit at the beginning. Is there anything else you want to just tell everyone where to find y'all, where to follow you online?
Reiterate your plugs.
Yeah, so our podcast, you can go to patreon.com, the number one true pod. $3 to sub and get all our bonus episodes, or you can just listen to full episodes. Either way, we appreciate. Twitter's _true_pod and _true if you want to find us on Spotify or Google Play. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at GeneSares1. That's got links to my Patreon, my OnlyFans, etc.
Yeah, and the other show that I'm on, in addition to One True Pod, is Proletarian Contrarian. On Twitter, that's at ProletarianC, and that has the link to our SoundCloud and Letterboxd and everything else. And I guess on Twitter, I'm at VenomConquer if you want to follow me.
There we go. All right. Well, some very cool Texas representation up in here. So the rest of our Texas crew. Bo, you've mentioned your Sonic High School bonus episodes. Dennis, do you have anything new coming up?
Be on the lookout for our next episode of Dolphins and Garages. It should be coming out by the end of this month. We are going to record it. I'm going to edit it. Bo is going to
write a
give
background,
me the backstory for his character Isha.
Yep, I've been meaning to do that all day. Playing a lot of Cruelty Squad instead.
Yep, and we will. If you want to know more about our characters, they will be for free available. Like all the backstories and stuff will be available for free on the Patreon.
This is your D&D one.
Oh yeah,
yeah. This is our D&D podcast.
Hell yeah. They were talking about that on our One True Pod episode. It sounds great.
We heard about the characters, and I'm already enraptured.
Right. Well, you can listen to the very first episode for free. Just go back to December 25th. It was a little Christmas present from us to you.
Aww.
We're gonna be releasing the episodes on their own RSS feed in the near future. We'll let you know more about that. That's just a little teaser for you all. But yeah, go to the Patreon, check it out. Check out the really saucy. Once it's all up, check out the really saucy art of Berry Picker that is available. That I had commissioned. It will make you question whether or not you're furry, which is the whole point of our podcast.
Oh boy. Oh boy. All right.
That is the ultimate goal.
The Lola Bunny comparisons that have been in the news recently have been, I'm sure, doing that for quite a few.
Yeah, if your friends, if the first thing your
Jesus
friends are
Christ.
saying is, oh no, they took away Lola Bunny's titties, and not, oh, there's a new Space Jam, then it's sus. It's sus.
Yeah, but guess what? We do not persecute on this podcast.
No, exactly. No, we support that friend. Send them to us. Don't. There's no need to roast them in the group chat. Just send them to us. As always, of course, listen to all of our bonus episodes. We put out a lot of audio content. We also stream Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. That is our reading stream, our Minecraft stream, and our variety game stream, where we bring lots of people on and just talk shit relentlessly about Joe Biden, as much as Twitch.com will let us. Or Twitch.tv will let us. So check all that out. But otherwise, I guess we'll see you on Friday for our bonus episode.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Let's live and learn.
Hey, Hey, Knuckles, it's Sonic.
I'm late for school. I have to get to school now. He did not like any class very much that was not about running and going fast, which is what Sonic does best. Hey, Amy, said Sonic, check me out. And Sonic did a dance move.
Wow, cool, let's kiss. Rouge was telling me about the problems with your balls and penis and butthole that everyone found out about in your English class.
I'm gonna take a sip of beer.
This is not an audiobook. God. I am always here for you. The prom is tonight also.
Wow, I forgot. Sonic grabbed Tails' hand and said, let's go, and ran all the way to the prom, which was on an island called Ghost Island. Ha ha ha, Sonic and Tails. Now you are both here and fallen right into my trap. Eggman, why are you here? I kissed Amy, and now you can never date her again because I'm going to do sex to her tonight. This sucks! And curse words, too.
Want to hear more Sonic High School? Check out patreon.com/psychic-dolphin-garage.
Welcome, dear listener, to Dolphins and Garages, starring Charlie as Draws the Tinkering Construct,
I have no need of soup. We will be on our way.
Bo as Isham Amerlagon, the Roguish Bugbear,
Show me on this diagram where the fuck I ask.
Dennis as Berry Picker, the soft-hearted furbolg barbarian. I just get angry sometimes. It's okay, though, right? And Artemis as the Dungeon Master.
Roll intimidation, all three of you.
That's a nat 20!
22.
5? E.
Be the first to listen to new episodes of Dolphins and Garages on patreon.com/psychic-dolphin-garage. We'll see you in the garage.
Howdy, y'all. Don't forget to follow our link tree in the show notes to discover new things like our Discord, social media platforms, and all the places where you can listen to our podcast. Word of mouth is the best way to introduce us and other leftist creators to friends, family, coworkers, your AA buddies. Community is about more than hot takes online. And if you want to support our efforts, you can donate to us at patreon.com/psychic-dolphin-garage, which is spelled how it sounds. Hope to see you on the stream tonight. Enjoy this music by JJ Demon.
How the fuck I still got a full head of hair? Not a single gray. Fuck the cops, family first, every single day. Bringing a charm when I ring the alarm. My arms got a box cutter insignia. We gotta abolish ICE, we gotta abolish ICE, abolish it. No need to apologize, the Holocaust abolishes. For no reason we colonize the land and put up monuments. Dope needles, dollar signs, the globe stares and astonish. I hope there'll be a punishment. I really wanna get bloody. I really wanna stand in judgment of anybody taking money from anybody in the struggle. Anybody on a budget. Poor people getting 10 to 20 for some dumb shit. Corporations incorporating a bloodlet. Mark my fucking words, this coup will not be bloodless. Mark my fucking words, this coup will not be bloodless. Mark my fucking words, this coup will not be bloodless. Mark my fucking words, this coup will not be bloodless. Mark my fucking words, this coup will not be bloodless. Mark my fucking words, this coup will not be bloodless. Mark my fucking words.